What's going on, everyone? Today I'm here with Jubril Agoro. Now, he is a Facebook marketer, and the interesting thing about him, he travels all over the world. So, Jubril, thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, seeing your content over the years, and so it's just a good and honor to be here with you.
So, Jubril, brother, tell us, how did you start traveling all over the world? Because a lot of black people don't even leave the hood.
Yeah. So for me, it was just a combination of seeing music videos and saying I wanted to do that, and then I had to figure out how am I going to fund this. And for me, I would say I wasn't exactly like a honor student. I actually graduated in the bottom 10% of my class, and school was like when I was early on, I'd get good grades. I was like, this is the way that's going to be basically the way out for me. School, get good grades. And then when I was actually in high school, I started selling on eBay, and I was, quite successful. And I started making more than my teachers while I was in high school. And so I was like, yo, this internet thing seems pretty real. My mom was like, no, you're still taking your, well, my mom's African. So she's like, you're going to go to school. I don't want to hear anything. You are going to go to school. That is the end of it. And so, but I didn't end up going to school. I ended up moving out. And so I wanted to see the world, and that didn't happen right away. I'm 30 years old right now, but the last 7 years is when I've been traveling nonstop. Like when I mean nonstop, I mean I've been all over the world. But the first trip I took pretty much internationally was to Mexico. That's like the easy trip to do. So I went to Cancun when I was 18 years old, and from there I was just like, wow, it's different because growing up, basically my four boys in Chicago. And it's like the typical thing, most of my friends, like some of my friends are, they're dead, or not a lot of them, but it's like have babies young, the typical kind of story. But like my core group of my three friends, like the core group of us, we kind of stayed out of that mix, in kind of like that environment. And I was like, yo, we need to do something different. So we would take trips I'm from Chicago, we'd go to Wisconsin Dells every single year. That was like our big trip. And I was like, man, I want to do something bigger than this. I want to go, see other places. And that's what I did since I had the funds. And so just basically take my marketing company, and I started going to, first place I went was Panama, then I went to Thailand, and I went to like cost-effective places, because one of the things that most people think is that it's expensive to go traveling to these places. Places in Thailand, basically what you would spend in Chicago for like what you could get for $6, you spend like $1 in Thailand. And so I could afford to spend like $1,500 or like $1,000 there would be like a $6,000 a month lifestyle in Chicago.
Oh, that's pretty good. Now, I noticed that you had said that basically you didn't get caught up making a bunch of babies and tying you down with some child support.
No, I don't got that.
Yeah, because some brothers need to realize that having these kids and getting caught up with these people in child support, you couldn't do all that traveling you're doing if you owe child support. Because the thing is, if you owe over $2,500 in child support, they will not let you get a passport. But before you started traveling, could you tell people, because I think about 70% of Americans don't even have a passport, how simple was it for you to get the passport?
It's really simple. You just apply, and then you go to like the Walgreens local store, and you pay, it's about $120 to get your passport, and then you can basically in about 2 weeks you get your passport. So like I was talking about my friends earlier, my friend Marcus and Quantarius, they just took their first international trip last year before they was 30 years old. Because before that, my one boy Quan, he had never been on a plane before, and then my other friend Marcus, he'd been on a plane one time to Florida, but never internationally. And then since they were seeing me overseas, they're like, yo, we finally gonna do it. And they finally, made that trip. I mean, so they applied for their passports and got them within like 2 weeks, and they both made it before they were 30 years old to make that first international trip.
So you said you went to Thailand. If somebody wanted to travel over there, what would be a good city to go to?
So if you're into like big city, if you like New York, if you like Chicago, that would be Bangkok. And here's what most people don't realize. Bangkok is the most visited city in the world, according to Forbes. And so you have number 2 is London. I'm actually in England right now. And then number 3 is Paris. And so most people don't understand, like, wow, Thailand's like that? And they don't understand how developed it is. Like in the malls, they have like Lamborghini dealerships. They've got Rolls Royce dealerships in the mall. They got Louis, they got Gucci. They've got like the best movie theaters. They've got like these crazy high-rise buildings with like infinity pools, overlooking the city. But if you want a more chilled out place, so I have a place right now in Chiang Mai, Thailand. That's where I actually live currently. And so it's beautiful. It's the second biggest city in Thailand. It's more chilled out. And they also have one of the biggest, what they call expat. The word expat is just people who live abroad. And they have one of the biggest digital nomad communities. That's for people who work, online and travel around the world. So that's like one of the big hubs is in Chiang Mai, Thailand. But if you want those like Instagram pictures, that's down in southern Thailand, like in the Phi Phi Islands in Phuket, Koh Phangan. That's where you would go if you want like the crazy beaches.
Talking about traveling to different countries, and I've seen this one brother had did a video out of Korea and how they were just shocked seeing brothers. Now in Thailand, how they treat you being a black man?
That's an interesting question. So when I first went there in 2011, it was a lot less common to see black people. So that city of Chiang Mai, I saw 4 black people in about 4 months when I was out there. Like real rare. So like the people are coming up to me, rubbing my arms, like, whoo, chocolate, like trying to see if like chocolate wrap off my arm. So you have to kind of be like open-minded. Most people are like, what the are you doing? But I have like a very open mind. It's not so much if they like flat out racist, they're more curious. And so they're like, and then you have more conversations with them. They're like, wow, okay. And then also how you treat you. I mean, I've had some of the most beautiful relationships in Bangkok. I would eat at this one place back in 2011 for $3 a day. She would get me breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I didn't see her for like 2 or 3 years when I went back the next time. And then she was like, oh my God, Jubril, welcome back. And I hadn't seen her in years. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to go pay, she's like, no, you my son, you don't pay. I happy you back. And so it's like, it was such a beautiful thing. Like love is like colors, and like people like, they do have like, oh my God, I hear this about black people. And so I won't say there's not like that shock value, but a lot of people, it comes with like basically being an ambassador for black people overseas. So they're like, oh, okay, this is what black people like. But now though, in 2016, I can't walk around Thailand without being like recognized and like people coming up and say, yo, you're the reason I'm out here. And so basically in Chiang Mai now, I see probably 3 or 4 black people a day. And at least half of them will come up to me and say, yo, you one of the inspirations while I'm out here. So I have seen quite a big difference in the black community and people going out there. And that's social media. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's just me, because so some of the earlier people might have seen just my videos. Because if you search like black people in Thailand, I have probably the #1 video. But then it's like, even if you have a following of just 300 people, you could probably influence probably 2 people out of your 300 following and follow you on Instagram, Facebook, and they're like, wow, that looked like a dope trip. I want to take that trip. And it kind of has like that ripple effect.
Because, like I said earlier, a lot of us don't even get out of our hood, our state, or whatever. And, all the stuff that's going on in America right now, I'm pretty sure you see that, all these racial tensions. Mm-hmm. I think we, as black people, all need to get our passports and have the option, if we want to go travel to a different country, or if we want to go stay somewhere else, we could.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, like you're talking about, I kind of keep it professional, but you're talking about like the child support and everything. It was one of the first times that I felt like I was exotic. Like at home, it's just like, you like everyone else. But when I was traveling abroad, they're like, oh my God, like a black American. And it was like, I was like, yo, man, I'm a decent looking guy, but I just felt like I was on like cloud 10. I was like, what is happening out here? Like, see this? Like, it was crazy. So that was one of the things that opened, because you get to interact with people who are just not used to it. It's like, because everyone normally stays, like you say, in their little ponds. It might be like the people from Sweden are staying in their little ponds, and you run into people from all these different places. Like growing up, I didn't know anyone from any other places, from around the world. And now I have friends all over the world. I could say I have friends in Japan. I have friends in Australia. And growing up, it'd be like, you might see like an exchange student or something, but you don't really know people from like other countries and their cultures. So that's one of the most beautiful things. And it's really educational for me. So yeah, I just can't recommend it enough. Like, I mean, that's why I go so hard. I put so much into just showing people what it is like, because people have a perception of what all of these places are like. So like, if I talk about Medellin, Colombia, people are like, yo man, I got the plug, I'm going down. And it's like, if you actually see the reality of what Medellin is today, it's completely different than like they have the big show on Netflix right now, Narcos. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't like that before, but now it's like, it's so safe. Like, it's a beautiful country. They got beautiful culture. And that's another thing. I was really ignorant. I was kind of like an ignorant young youth. I was like, why the hell am I going to learn Spanish? Like, I don't need to know. I'm not Mexican. I had a very like I know it all attitude, and now looking back, I was like, damn, I wish I would have like taken the time to like learn that, not just for like being able to communicate and there's a business sense to like do business around the world. If I could speak more languages, it just only enhances, everything in your life.
Oh, I remember a lot of brothers was talking about Brazil at one point in time. You been down there as well?
You say no, I actually haven't been to Brazil, but I have a lot of friends that have been to Brazil, and I would say Medellin is like it's easier to get to, it's cheaper to get to, and it's kind of like untapped because it still has that like perception of you're gonna get kidnapped as soon as you get out the taxi. And so that's what I thought. Like I was nervous. Like first time I went down there, I was like, oh man, like I was. But it's like people. The top thing people tell me is like, wow, this is totally different than I expected. Like 100% of the people that I send down there, or I meet down there.
So you went to these other countries, and we were talking about earlier the tensions that happen in America with the racism. Do you feel that going to other countries or living in other countries possibly would be a good option for Black Americans?
Absolutely. For me, and like I'll keep it like 100. Like, and I have heard from. So here's like I want to be politically correct, and I'm not. I'm just gonna keep it all the way 100. So there's like different things that I've seen in different countries that happen. So like kind of like there's a divide in some places between like Black Americans and then like Africans in like other places. And so they'll be like, oh my God, they're Black American. And then like sometimes they'll get treated better than people from like Africa. And the thing is, I'm African. My blood's like African. And so it's like, I don't even know there's enough time to really go like in depth, like of, and like really articulate it properly without like kind of messing it up. But I have seen, I won't say, and like, so when you're in Thailand, here's something like they have like bleaching creams because they think like, but that you could say that in Jamaica. But I've not seen like resistance, and I actually feel more safe. Let's talk about like safety. When I'm like, if I'm Thailand, I don't really feel like any like, oh my God, like I'm gonna get shot. Like it's real. When I'm in Colombia, it's all love. Like Panama, I could be in the hood in Panama. I don't even feel. I always get my haircut because I always have to figure out where I'm gonna. I always get my haircut in the hood, in the countries that I'm at. So I don't really feel that like, oh my God, all right, we're gonna pull over. Like, what's gonna happen next? I don't really feel that resistance. I'm here in London. I don't feel it. Like, I feel it's crazy, but like, I'd probably say, as far as like what you're saying with the police and stuff, America is probably the most dangerous place for that. Like, and I love America. I mean, I don't really feel threatened most of the time when I'm in America, but I would say as a whole, from like seeing things, I would say I feel most threatened by like police and stuff in America.
I asked people that a few times, and they're saying the same thing that you said. So basically, when you go to other countries, you don't even have the issues that you may have here in America, and that's kind of sad. Now, of course, I'm not saying every place you are in America you're gonna feel like that, but it's just sad that you're in your own home country and still dealing with all the situation with racism. But going back to what you were saying earlier about all these different countries, and you feel a lot safer there because they look at you as a Black American. If a person decides, like right now, they said they wanted to go to where you're at. You're in London, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if they wanted to go to London, what's a good place for them to go when they get there?
Man, I'm about to drop a new video. So my brand is called Passport Heavy, and like we're dropping a new video on Brixton. So Brixton is culturally known as like an African Caribbean area of London. So when most people think of London, they think of the Big Ben, and they think of the House of Parliament, the Queen, Buckingham Palace. And now while that's cool, and I'm not saying don't do that, that's dope. Like I love it. Like get your Instagram pictures. But there's so much more to London than that. So if I could do a comparison, if you have Manhattan in New York, right? And then you have Brooklyn. Like, that's what Brixton is. Like, London is more like Manhattan, and Brixton is more like, so you have Brixton, I'd say all that southwest area. But the thing is, just like Brooklyn, that's changing now. Like, Brooklyn 10, 15 years ago is not what it is today. That's the same thing as Brixton today is not the same place as it was 15 years ago. So I would say visit it as quickly as you can so you can see it before it completely changes, just kind of like Brixton is changing. I mean, just like Brooklyn is changing.
And a lot of that with Harlem and Brooklyn, gentrification playing a big role on that, why that's changing.
Yeah, that's what
But
I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, I definitely got to go out there to the UK because the sister with the castle invited me to go over there the moment I get there. So I told her, I'm coming to your house. So don't play with me. But outside of that, everyone, it's good to hear what this brother is saying, that you can go places, be treated different, go see different parts of the world. He's still alive. Ain't nothing happened to him. So, he seems like he's, enjoying his life. So with your company, before we wrap up, how did your company open up those kind of opportunities to you, your marketing company?
Yeah, so for example, I'm partnered with so I have different business partners all around the world. Most of them in the United States. I have a business partner here in London. That's why I'm visiting. So I have a business partner called Tiffany the Budgetnista. And so she is in the financial education space. And she is, no, she's not even is, she is the biggest African American in personal finance. And it's undebatable as far as numbers and everything. And so I help her grow her readership, and then so we have like a membership program, and then we also have affiliate offers that we do, and so with that, like I can be anywhere around the world. If you're gonna be at Essence Fest, we'll be there. She'll be speaking there, and I have different partners like on YouTube. My homie Brandon Carter, he also has over 600,000 subs, and so I do the Facebook marketing with them, and so that's what I get to do. So it doesn't matter where I am around the world, as long as I have my laptop here and my connection, sometimes a Skype call. That's it. And then so that's how I generate my income that enables me to travel all around the world.
Living the black man's dream, I tell you that much. Doing good, traveling the world, happy. I hear how happy you are in your speech. I know life sometimes gets stressful, but it sounds like you're happy, and I'm glad to hear that. So, brothers, especially the brothers, if you're watching, there's a brother just like you can do the same thing and just be happy in your life. Ain't got to worry about all this stress you deal with here in America at times. You just take care of yourself and don't get caught up with no kids and get on child support. You can't get your passport. But, brother, you talked about your YouTube channel. How can people find your YouTube channel to see your videos?
Yeah, if you just type in Passport Heavy into YouTube, or if you just search, I have probably 4 or 5 different channels, because I've been doing this YouTube since 2006. So if you put in black billionaires into YouTube, you'll find one of my older channels. That was a topic that was interesting. I was like, that's not being highlighted enough. And then if you put in Medellin, Colombia, if you just put my name, Jubril Agoro, you'll see it. But if you just Medellin, Colombia, you put Panama City, Panama, you put Chiang Mai, Thailand, you put whatever, I always pretty much have the first search result for whatever that keyword is. So you can find me with any of those keywords, but if you just put in Passport Heavy, you'll find my newest channel. So,
all right, so make sure you check out his videos and see all the different countries and maybe inspire some of you to get out and travel outside of the hood, outside of your state, and see different places, and maybe you could have a good experience as well. So, Jubril, thank you, brother, for joining us on the show today and spreading that knowledge that we definitely need to travel.
No, I appreciate the opportunity, and I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity, and feel free to reach out. Any questions that you have, especially if I can help you travel more, and it's never as expensive as you think it is. That's the one thing I'd kind of leave on. Rappers kind of leave that yo, I'm overseas, I'm balling. I like to make some of my biggest videos. I do cost of living to show people how affordable it is to do these things. Versus just trying to kind of stun on people yo, no, you can actually do this. It's not that expensive. So that's one of the things I want to leave you to. You can afford, to travel. Literally a few J's and you could be overseas. So.
And I'm glad you said that. A few J's and you could be overseas. But first and foremost, get your passport, please. Because just as much you got a driver's license, have a passport. Because like I say, you're no telling what's going to go on in this country with Donald Trump being the president. Have your options if you need to leave for some reason. So, brother, thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.